Um, I looked in the mirror with a gun in my mouth, and my eyes were as big as saucers, and I felt like I was outside of my body looking in, and I was stunned at how, I was stunned that I wasn't crying. And I remember thinking, well, don't people cry when they kill themselves? Shouldn't I be more emotional than this? And I thought to myself, I thought of my partner. A lot of things went through my head as I was about to pull the trigger. I said a prayer to God to please forgive me for taking my life. I thought of my partner. I thought of my dogs. I thought of how incredible it would feel to have sunlight on my skin. I was so cold. I'd been so cold for a long time. I thought of music. And as all of these things were flashing through my head, and I was looking at myself in the mirror, all of a sudden I became blurry in my reflection, and I realized, as I heard a noise, a pounding, it was the pounding of my heart beating in my chest, and I saw myself crying. I was back in my body, looking at myself, and I was just weeping. And the dam broke, and I became reattached to my emotions and re-engaged with me. I felt like me again. Now, I took the gun out of my mouth, and with a huge rattle and a clunk, I put it down on the mantle. I won't tell you that I knew that I wouldn't come back downstairs and pull the trigger in an hour. But I went back upstairs and I crawled in my bed. And I have shared this story with Eliza, that I slept for a couple of hours, and I got up the next day, and early the next morning I was terrified to go downstairs. And I thought, holy crap, I can't go down there. I don't know what I'll do. So I got on my knees in my bedroom, and I changed my plan. Because my plan had always been, dear God, please let me figure out how to keep my career and keep my secret and have success, and I'll be a good person, and just help me stay hidden, because nobody will understand and I'll lose everything. But on that day, I didn't pray that prayer. I got on my knees, and I clasped my hands together, and I put my arms up on the edge of my bed, and I said, dear God, please give me a moment's peace. And I knew at that moment, I'm going to come out.
We're so lucky. So lucky that you did.
Does anyone have a tissue?
I'm sorry, I'm not prepared. Someone will bring one up. I'm sure Hyde.
A tissue tent.
Here.
Tissues coming from everywhere.
There you go. There you go. Flying tissues. Shelley, one of the things that you mentioned is you were thinking of music.
Yeah.
You're thinking of music, and so much of this new album comes out of songs that you wrote once you came back, once you were looking for that peace. And a lot of reviews have talked about this album as sort of a coming out album. How do you think of this album that way, and this music as your coming out album? Or how has this, at this point, where in your journey do you feel like you are as an artist and as a singer?
That's a great question. In many ways, I think this is my coming out album. Although, I think a few fans who want this to be, they want pronouns in this record to be, a lot of she and she. Sorry, it's not. But I think because I wrote these songs I wrote them in my pajamas, for the most part, during that breakthrough period. I think because my intellect was so suspended, I think because I was such an incredible wreck at the time, it's so good to get your brain out of the way. Like, that's probably been, if anything, the Achilles heel of the art that I've tried to make. I've overthought everything I've done. And I'm sure most people in this room, whether you make your living in the arts or not, most people have an artistic outlet that they explore, a creative side. It's the thing that allows people to get away from their intellectual side. Well, I always kind of crashed mine together. And for the first time in my life, I lost my mind. It was awesome. And these songs, when I wrote them, I wasn't thinking, what will the label say? What will the record label say? I didn't have a thought of, what will radio play? Oh my gosh, they're going to read something into these songs. I really was writing, these songs bugged me. These songs were torture to me. All I wanted to do was sleep. I really just wanted to go to sleep, and these songs were seeping out of me, and I had no choice but to just grab my guitar and just as a duty to the song, get them out. So I can't take a lot of responsibility for these songs. They were as much a part of my coming out process as getting on my knees and completely acquiescing to, okay, God, I've done it my way 36 years at that time. Finally, let me give in. And these songs are a complete submission to that. And so artistically, if you have to spend half of your time hiding, and then all of a sudden that job of hiding is off your plate, it would stand to reason that I might write better music.
Bring it home.